Welcome, everybody, to the BKBK Podcast, where sports and the culture collide and the New York Jets reign supreme. I'm your host, Brandon Phillips, joined by my fellow co-hosts, Kerry Taylor, Brian Taylor, and Captain Kyle McKenna, who's like 3,000 miles away. Woo!
That's right.
Can you believe it?
2,809 to be exact.
Wow. Awesome. So, we're bringing this podcast to everyone, to all of our friends and fans. We're bringing it from our new studio in Westchester, all right? But before that, I just wanted to shout out to our Summit 68 studios that basically helped us to launch this whole thing. So it's going to give it a nice... Yes,
clap it up, baby.
Yes.
Clap it up.
Clapping it up,
baby. Clap it up.
Exactly. So thank you very much for that. But before we get started, I just want to just talk about the New York Jets and one of our coaches. I know Kyle McKenna. There is one of our old coaches passed away. And if you could just let us know more about that.
Well, it just about maybe a half an hour before we came on the air, found out that Coach Tony Sparano, who was the offensive coordinator for the Jets for a couple years, he passed away. It doesn't really say exactly what happened yet. That wasn't really announced. I saw an announcement by Adam Schechter, and I saw something also by the Vikings organization. This is kind of close to me because Coach Sparano was my offensive coordinator in college at Boston University from 1992 to 1994 before he became the head coach at University of New Haven.
Yep.
And I mean, to be honest with you, getting ready to do the show, really psyched to see you guys, to get on the air and talk Jets and everything like that. And then I get hit with this information, and it's like, wow, Coach Sparano is actually the third person from my college coaching staff that has passed away, all young. Coach Allen, he passed away, a few years after I graduated.
Wow.
We lost a coach during my time there in the middle of the off season. It didn't, he wasn't at a winter workout, and Coach Ed Karen wasn't at a winter workout, and then we found out the next morning that he had passed away over the night. So.
Wow.
For all my BU guys out there that are checking this out, we're all together on this one. Very sad about Coach Sparano. His son is a JC coach out in California now. His family, all good people. A guy that always had his kids around and stuff like that. So they grew up in a football world, but just thinking a lot about him to now and how everything's going with that, and hoping his family's okay. He was a Parcells guy. So a quick story about Coach Sparano. When he was coaching with the Cowboys, when Parcells was the head coach, he was the tight ends coach. Very, in most circles, he's the one that's given the credit for developing Jason Witten.
Oh, wow.
Into the tight end that he is. And every year it would come about like somebody would try to get Tony Sparano to be their O-line coach or to go be an OC or something like that somewhere else. And every year Parcells would raise his salary and ask him to stay. And then when Parcells went over to Miami, brought Sparano with him over there. And we know Sparano was the head coach of the Dolphins for a minute. And also he was interim head coach at the Raiders as well. So this is like a guy that worked his way up from college ranks to NFL quality control to being a head coach in the NFL, and just 56. Yes, that's way too young.
Only 56, huh?
56 years old.
Wow.
And it's definitely, there's a little bit of a cloud over things today. But what show goes on, we'll keep going with it. But rest in peace, Coach Sparano, and my best to the family.
Absolutely. Rest in peace to Tony Sparano. His family, condolences to his family, and just like us, to the rest of the Jet fans. He's a Jet to us as well. And it's anytime you're dealing with something like that, it's just really, really tough. So, just as a family here, a BKBK family, I just want to just shout out condolences to everyone in his family, the Jets organization, as well as the Jet fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, just moving on to something a little bit lighter. Yeah. What I'd like to do is to, more recent news. One of our favorite Jets, Darrelle Revis, he retired this week. And gave us 11 great years. Well, maybe us. I think he only gave us 8. He was giving other teams.
We'll let that go for now. We'll let that go.
But still, I mean, listen, he's going to retire as he's going to sign a 1-day contract with the Jets so that he can retire as a Jet. So, we got to speak on it. So basically, we're going to talk about Darrelle Revis. So from my perspective, Darrelle Revis was
Revis Island
was one of the greatest Jets of all time.
Sure.
I think that I've just never met a defensive player seen a defensive player on the Jets team as good as him. He might be number 1. Joe Klecko and then Gastineau might be right behind him. But the guy was just purely dominant. He shut down and locked other great players and other teams. And we've seen the stats. I mean, he only has 29 receptions, but he locked down half the field. And when you
interceptions, right?
What's that?
Interceptions.
I'm sorry. Yes, he only had 29 interceptions, but that's because he locked down half of the field.
Absolutely.
And people were scared to throw to him. So, I just want to just give him a shout out as well because I loved Revis. That number 24 looks pretty on him. It's a good-looking number 4 cornerback. I'm big on numbers. And yeah, so that's what I have to say about that. I just think that he was a great Jet, and I just want to know what everybody else thinks.
Listen, didn't he make you feel proud to be a Jet? At a point where, we were kind of down on the team, and then Rex Ryan comes in, and then he's the person that's locking down the defense from that perspective. Definitely the number 1 player on both sides of the football at that point in time. And you're talking about playoffs. You're talking about AFC Championship games. Definitely playoffs, right? So you're talking about a player that made you proud to be a Jet based on how hard he played. All pro during his time here, at least the first stint that he was here. So my thing is, where does he place on the list of best cornerbacks of all time, at least during the period of time that we've been watching football? And so I got a brief list here that they have. They have
you got a list, huh?
Yeah. Got a list here, and trying to give with the top10s.com. So they have Deion Sanders number 1.
That's fair.
I think it's arguably definitely number 1, right? I don't think anybody's going to.
I'm not gonna.
Isn't better than Sanders.
No, definitely not. I mean,
I would say that his tackling is better than Deion Sanders.
Oh, absolutely.
He never ran away because I saw Deion kind of run away from the physicality of coming up and run support.
Not kind of.
Yeah,
but don't get like on Tony Romo and have Deion coming after you.
It's my quarterback.
So I'm run
judging corners on tackling is like judging receivers on blocking.
No.
No,
I disagree.
I disagree with that.
I disagree.
Wow, you got shot down, huh? Sorry, coach.
No.
Stick to the line.
All right. Let me run through the list real quick, and then we can just chop
go
up.
ahead.
So we got Champ Bailey.
Franchise you for your tackling.
Funny. We got Champ Bailey as number 2.
Okay.
Tough.
It's comparable.
I mean,
I think Reeves is better than Champ.
I think so too.
I just think Champ just played longer.
He did. So you got Rod Woodson, and we'll bring that up. So if Revis switched to safety, like a Rod Woodson, who they have as number 3, right? Or they have who they have as number 4. Charles Woodson is number 6.
He's better than Charles Woodson, hands down. I like Charles. I'm just going to say that he's better as a covering cornerback and dictating the game. He's better than Charles Woodson.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to say that right now.
Well, they have Woodson at 6.
I give him the nod off Woodson.
Okay. They have Revis at 5, and then they have Dick Night Train Lane as number 4.
All right, Richard.
That's his name. It says it, Dick Night Train Lane.
We don't have a frame of reference for Night Train Lane. It's as,
I think probably the best part of his career is his nickname.
Wow.
They got Dow Green at 7. So they got Dow Green at 7. We watched Dow Green play.
I think Dow Green needs to be bumped up ahead of Charles Woodson.
Yo, I met Darryl Green. Outside the cruise ship when we went on the school trip to.
Was
in high school?
Was he fast?
Yeah, he
He
didn't
ran to
talk
the
to
front
me.
of the line.
He ran away from me real fast.
Yeah, you look intimidating.
So that's all I got. I mean, I don't feel like we need to go into past 7.
Hey,
I want to hear number 8. Who's number 8?
Number
Yeah,
8?
who's number 8?
Ocho. Mel Blount.
Mel Blunt.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
past. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, see, the thing is when you're trying to compare players from different eras, you also have to take into consideration, the rule changes. And with regard to the defensive backs, that rule change with regard to when you can touch the receivers, how long you can touch the receivers, what you can do at the point of attack.
Can you mug them or not?
Right. And what I the value that I place in Revis is that at the point of attack, there was nobody better. There was nobody better in dictating where you were going to go in terms of your route and disrupting your route tree in terms of reacting to the ball once the ball was in the air. He was a ball hog. And you have a lot of these defensive backs that you mentioned that didn't have that restriction. When you talk about Dion, when you talk about
Woodson.
when you talk about Woodson, when you talk about Darryl Green. Now nobody's debating whether or not these guys were great defensive backs. But what I would say is I don't know if they would be the same type of defensive backs with the rule restrictions that you have in place now that Revis had to play inside of. And when you talk about him being able to shut down the entire half of the field,
Sure,
where you said, look, you're on Revis Island, and this part of the field we're not going to throw to, even if you have one-on-one coverage.
Mm-hmm.
The only other defensive back that they would say that about was Dion.
True.
Yep.
Well,
True.
let me bring up something about Dion. Dion played with Charles Haley on both San Francisco and Dallas, correct?
Correct.
As a
Right?
yeah.
So this is my point with this. You had an all-pro pass rusher on your defense, on the arguably the two best defenses that Dion played on. If you look at how good the defenses were with Revis and the Jets when they had Cromartie on the other side, and Rex Ryan was able to man up both corners and blitz the way that he blitzes with no real pass rusher.
Sure.
And to have those defenses be as good as they were to beat New England in New England and to go to 2 straight AFC championships, our offense wasn't even that good.
No,
I mean, our
right.
offense was pedestrian.
Yeah.
So when you think about it in those ways, what did the individual mean to the overall defense and how good the defense was?
I would say, if I may interject, and just to piggyback off of your point, I'd say Revis's greatness helped to create our pass rush and not the other way around.
We didn't have a pass rush. We had blitzing.
We had the pressure,
Right.
though, and that was what Rex Ryan wanted. He wanted pressure, not necessarily getting to the quarterback, but definitely getting pressure, so causing mistakes.
Agreed.
But that pressure, sometimes you can try to have pressure and it doesn't work. But when you have a lockdown cornerback who can just lock down half the field, it makes that pressure that we're trying to apply more effective. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So we're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that somebody like Deion Sanders may have been better than Revis all around, but at the same time, the defenses that he had also had Hall of Famer
and offenses. And offenses, too.
Yeah, you're right.
Offenses too. Yeah,
absolutely right.
Both Cowboys and the 49ers.
Absolutely.
And when I rank the players that the best Jets, I would say it's Klecko, hands down. No pun intended, with regard to being voted All Pro at 3 positions.
Yeah.
Now had Revis converted to safety and been as effective as he was as defensive back in his first 6 years in the league, then maybe I would have a stronger argument for him. But when it comes to me and seeing these Jets, watching Joe Klecko play, I would say
he was
Joe
a beast.
Klecko.
I mean, he was a beast. Clearly.
It's not a question to me.
Yeah. We have that dusty Super Bowl trophy in